Hello my friends and welcome back to hell. No, right. So here's the thing, I really don't want to take apart my whole army to once again do a training mission. But hey. Okay, none of those are going to matter. It's a training mission. And I don't believe you have any aircraft for this. And I don't think any of that's going to matter either. Okay. So, let's stow the aircraft. He said no more than 7 units. So, now is the time to cross-class. How much work have you done? Like, are you worth... Wow, you've actually done quite a lot of soft damage. And quite a lot of tank damage. Oh, 1 point away! 1 point away from dependable support. How interesting. Just 1 point away from dependables. 1 point away from dependable support makes me feel like I should leave it like that until it actually has dependable support. Actually, do you know what? If I make it a KV, it's not an issue. Okay, so this KV is now maxed out. Steamroll wise. Unyielding, that can just stay. Who do I want to cross-class? Cross. To be honest, the recon cars will gain experience in their own time. There's really no need to rush their experience up. The artillery is growing fine on its own as well. Alright, these guys basically saw very little action. Almost hardly worth using. Yeah, it's almost... they're almost not worth bringing across. One, two, three, four, five. Okay, we're going to bring 7 units across. It's going to be 7 tanks. I have decided. I'm sure these guys have seen some action as well. Let's bring 2 recons that have seen the most. The most experience. Alright. Let's strip these guys. Off you go. Let's keep the Zerg. Because it does actually need experience pretty badly. Let's pull this off. Let's temporarily make you an IVD. No retaliation, overwhelming attack, and envelopment. None of that needs to change. None of those abilities help me with experience gathering, so I'll leave that as it is. Envelopment, cheap replacement, and ignores zone of control. None of those help either. So you can just go to the reserves as you are. Aggressive, counterattack, and readiness are also not useful. But this guy is actually quite low on experience, but we'll tap him into the reserves anyway. I will bring one infantry unit, actually. Just because I have some really great infantry units. Let me grab that fast deployment while I'm at it. I'll have another look at my artillery anyway, but the artillery will level quickly and really doesn't need a boost. Let's bring lethal. And... okay, that's fine. The only way the artillery would need a boost is if I cross-classed another unit into artillery. Which is something I could do. If I was going to cross-class something into an artillery, though, I've only got one choice. And it's this KV. Because it's the only thing with Steamroller. I'm sat with a lot of tanks on the precipice of having Steamroller, but not actually having it yet. And can we see a world in which I need 4 artillery? Maybe not, but I can see a world in which I require more anti-aircraft guns. Do you know what? I'll make this a KV. It will finish its skilled support when it becomes a KV. I can even make it this fatty. Where's the KV? Oh, it's right at the bottom. There we go. He'll pick up skilled support when I put him in artillery mode at some point. Leveling up this anti-aircraft gun might be a good idea, actually. Okay, so if I'm going to do that, then I'm going to swap this. He's already got skilled support, so he's perfect. Back you go. Do you know what? For this mission, you might as well be mechanized. You might as well be mechanized for this one, right? Because the attack values are greater. Or identical. Okay, let's train up these two anti-aircraft guns. This one especially has no experience now. So let's go with fast learner and aiming assistance and double attack. It'll be maxed out before I know it. Let's add, I'll just put unyielding, put legendary on it for the free money. It's amazing how few offensive heroes I have. I have no attack value increasing heroes at all. No city fighter, no butcher, no tank killer, nothing. Like, offensively, I am really kind of short on heroes. I do have lethal attack, though. That will be efficient. Alright, up you go. Everything that we deploy right now, we should deploy at ultra fat strength. Do I want to level up an infantry? I do have some pioneers. Let's bring one infantry and level that up too. Plus that's then a good excuse to run fast deployment and leader, whatever his name is. Leadership, that will help. Ignores entrenchment, that will cause extra damage. Might as well add 0 slots. Famous. This does add tank killer, so I guess that's a little bit of damage. Alright, let's just pick our weakest tanks and level them up. So I guess this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. More damage means more EXP, so let's level them up. And speaking of which, I'm going for the IVD here, or even the IVE, because it's got high soft attack values. Should get extra damage done. Whatever I've got that's the most painful for the enemy. I'm sure the old Flam Waffle can get some kills for me here. 3F, 3F, 3H. What else have I got that's got super high attack values? There is this thing, but it's dumpster fire slow. We may miss precious turns waiting for that dumpster to get into position. We can certainly deploy the KV-2s. The difference between 4 movement and 3 is immense. Because on a road, 4 movement translates into 5, whereas 3 movement doesn't get you an extra movement. So that's something else to keep in mind. Okay, is there anything further to do heroes-wise? 0 slots, reduced slots, 0 slots. Don't see if that helps me at all. Okay, so we deploy the 1 infantry, the 2 anti-airs, and 4 tanks if we're not allowed to deploy anything else. So let's go with the Waffle, the Zerg, this KV, and I guess this 3H. Or the IVE? Okay, if I get to... There is a supply hex here. If I get to deploy anything else, then I'll deploy these as well, but this might be the limitation of what I can deploy. But these guys have all got 1 star of experience, so that's okay. I'm sure that I could be even more efficient with my farm here, but honestly, I really can't be bothered. Okay, let's go. Okay, interesting start. Cliff, 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 cliff. That's the north coast, which is all cliffs. Well, not quite true, but this is not a very good representation of Jersey. There is actually a port here. There's like a bit that's cut out into Jersey that's actually the perfect landing site. The perfect covert landing site. Probably made a mistake already here. I probably... Oh, did aggressive deployment allow me to... Huh, isn't that interesting? Aggressive deployment actually allowed me to fire straight away. I'm not going to though, because these can be overrun, so I'm going to just turn them into overruns. No offense, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 overruns. I will take that all week. The only thing is, making a gap would allow me to deploy my units, which are going to miss out a turn of experience if I don't. Let's make the hole, shall we? I can't move into that tile, so I'm going to presume that there's something there. Let's go, boys. Sweet. It's a training mission, so you don't even need to see. Gonna get some steamrolling done. Speaking of steamrolls, how many rolls does this guy require? 6. And he's just getting started on his steamrolling career. And this guy's got 2. Try and distribute them evenly. Okay. Okay, so you get one. Boom. Show me the experience points. Okay, this IVE is great against soft targets. So let's bring him in for that. Nice. Nice. All right. Yeah, let's hit this. Can I now deploy that? Nope. If I were to say bring out a fighter, can I deploy that? Nope. Well, that's unfortunate. Oh man, those sweet experience points away. That's a village. This unit will probably level very quickly, so let's clean out the village with this. Mine General, I followed up on a tip from a British defector. There might be something of value on the island. Apparently the Standard Island Preferred Shipping Corporation. What, you mean the Royal Mail? You mean the Royal Mail? It's called the Royal Mail. It's been the Royal Mail for like probably 300 years, but anyway. Okay, they tried to bury a warehouse, and after digging it up, we have found some Spitfires and some Hurricanes. Sweet. Not historical. They never attempted to defend the island, and there was never any military hardware on it that wasn't German. They knew that it couldn't be defended, so they just abandoned it, which was really not unreasonable. Holy sweet mother of mercy, we're 3.5 stars already. Man, if only I could undeploy the beast. Well, that was fast. I don't think any of these boys can get back there. Steamroll that and then get back to the front line in one round. Okay, so this guy with the aim assist is maxed out. wow, that's not going to take long, is it? There's another town down there. Okay, we are like very close to maxing all of this out apart from the flame tank. Which cannot reach a soft target. Yes, it can. Okay, well that's some serious EXP that we just gained. Okay, next turn we can hit that and then drive back. This guy's nearly maxed out as well. These guys don't count as infantry kills. Do they? No. They're buildings. Wow, they're maxed out. From nothing to maxed out. They're also all maxed out. Man, that's crazy. Man, it's, you know, it's it's crazy to me that all these units are going to get maxed out. These are not easy units to max out. Now suddenly, a few hosings later, we're maxed out. Oh well. If only I could undeploy them. And deploy other units. But it's not allowed. I guess it's just as well. Well, That's us done. 3.5 star. 3.5. 3.5. 3.5. 3.5. 3.5. And 3.5. That's it. That was impressive. It's pretty sickening the amount of EXP we just gained. Pretty sickening. Not much to report today, mine general. Our forces are ordered to remain in France for the time being to continue to prepare and train for the invasion. It's up to the Luftwaffe to win the Battle of Britain at this point. A strange looking letter. My son, I write to you now to further the plot. To further the plot. Germany can do anything. He died of a heart attack. What a way to go. He will rest easy, knowing that you have emerged victorious over the spectre of the place that had haunted him. I know you have continued to stay in contact with the Spanish girl, despite my objections to your interest in her. But alas, if your heart cannot be swayed, then I will give my blessings. Whoop whoop. Baroness Rana Wagner. What a thing to say. Dude, your father is dead. I am sure a leave of absence is... if I was your commanding officer, I would force you to take a leave of absence against your will if this had occurred. I wouldn't even allow you the choice. I would force you to take time off. Historically, the occupation of Jersey, Guernsey, and the other islands within the English Channel was achieved with little bloodshed. Britain had demilitarized the islands, as their location in the Channel was of no strategic importance to either side. Not true. Not true. The reason why the islands were evacuated, for a start, not demilitarized. They were evacuated, only a very skeletal government remained, and a few people who didn't want to allow their fields to go fallow and that kind of thing. Farmers and such stayed behind. The vast majority of the population was evacuated to the UK. The reason why was because the British had concluded that, and the governing of the island had concluded that Jersey just couldn't be defended. It wasn't that it lacked strategic value, because Jersey actually had some pretty significant ports in the Channel, which are quite useful for controlling the Channel. But that the island could not be defended from artillery, which could be placed on the French coastline and bomb the island with impunity. Unfortunately, Jersey is in range, or was in range of of France. At the time, artillery could easily reach it from France. So, once the Germans had identified any defences, it was just for them to bombard the island with artillery to destroy them. So, with the island considered undefendable, the choice was made to evacuate. But the island actually had great strategic importance from a shipping perspective, from a naval control perspective, and the Germans and the British both understood this. The British just didn't realize that they couldn't hold it. When the Germans came, they built a great many coastal defenses on Jersey and anti-shipping guns, which can still be seen to this day. The Germans left a great deal of concrete on the island, and they built naval batteries like here. They built a massive one in on Elizabeth Castle, which is not depicted on this horrible abomination of a map. But Elizabeth Castle is like here in the bay. It's a very big castle on a rock, basically, and they built a massive coastal battery there, and they also built batteries up here. They basically fortified the island pretty heavily. Unlike the British, the Germans could hold on to the island because the island was not really reachable with artillery from the UK like it was from France. So that's the reason why they pulled out. But the island continued to be a pain in the ass for the Allies, because obviously they were planning their landings in France as per D-Day. The coastal batteries here were quite threatening, so the island was avoided. In fact, the island was so threatening to shipping that Jersey was actually one of, if not the last place to be liberated, because the Royal Navy just didn't want to go anywhere near it. It was that simple. It had a big area of good luck around it. Ships could just not safely approach, especially not with all the coastal cannons that the Germans put here. And you can go see them. You can go see them. I've seen them. If you ever visit Jersey, take a visit to Elizabeth Castle, and you can go and see the coastal battery there, which is in great condition because it's been well looked after. And you can see some of the other ones, but being exposed to the elements and stuff, they are in much worse condition. They're really more just concrete emplacements now. Okay, that's it with the history lesson. But no strategic importance is a load of crap. They wouldn't have bothered taking the island at all if it held no strategic importance. They just couldn't defend it. It was reachable. The artillery of the time could reach it from France. And there's really nowhere to hide on the island. It's too small. So, General Edmon, is it? Oh, look, here's a familiar face. Here's a familiar face from the original campaign. Okay, this is quite a big map. I see your record in France is very impressive, and for what it's worth, my daughter in the Wehrmacht Theferen certainly speaks highly of your command. But none of that matters now, because your decisions and your victories have brought us to this most perilous of missions. It is time to invade Britain. Raid Ashford before capturing the last victory hex. Okay. Destroy 6 radar installations. Before you begin, High Command has done their best to support the invasion, but the fact comes with as much good news as bad news. The most important thing you need to be aware of is, despite any propaganda you may have heard recently, that we are most definitely not won the air war over Britain. No, it's because the Spitfires and Hurricanes are like 1,000,000 times better than your aircraft. Despite months of effort from the Luftwaffe, we have never managed to achieve air superiority. Therefore, you can expect extreme resistance from enemy aircraft at all times. Additionally, Admiral Luftgens and the Kriegsmarine have dedicated as many surface ships as they could put together. A brand new battleship Bismarck has been rushed into service, accompanied by the heavy cruisers Admiral Hipper and Admiral Scheer. And I think, if I remember correctly, the Vulture turns up in this mission if you rescued it. They even cobbled together a half-complete Graf Zeppelin to serve as our one and only aircraft carrier. Sorry. Keep a combat patrol over it at all times, as this ship is likely to be quite fragile in its barely completed state. How much protection these ships can provide you with against the Royal Navy, we'll just have to find out when you encounter them. As strange as it sounds, our submarines haven't spotted a single Royal Navy vessel between us and your target beaches. Speaking of which, your target beach is here, right where the British know you're going to go. And you should expect to be fully contested by whatever infantry and artillery the British have been able to scrape together. Once ashore, the Luftwaffe have requested you dismantle those damn radar stations. Ideally, we'll have quite a front to work with between your forces landing here and other forces landing at Brighton. We are past the point of no return. Oh, what is this crap? Yeah, sure, whatever. You want to reset my prestige, that's fine. I have most of it squirreled away anyway. Another first aid guy. 2 first aid guys. 1 for each one of my infantry, I suppose. Okay, this is going to be a very interesting deployment video. I can feel it. Zeppelin, the Bismarck, the Hipper, and 2 destroyers. Is that Jersey? I'm going to presume that that airfield floating in the middle of the sea is Jersey. It's not labelled as Jersey, but I can't imagine any other way that an aircraft would just an airfield would just be floating in the middle of the sea. So I'm going to presume that that's Jersey. This part of the map is quite tight, and there's a supply hex here, and there's also landing points here. So I think we just come up here. I have played this mission before. It will maybe surprise you to learn or not surprise you to learn. And you may think to yourself, well, how have you played this mission before when you hadn't played all of the other missions before? And that was because I received a save game for this specific mission to make a trailer. Because I make the trailers on the official Slytherin channel. So I made the trailer for this, and so I played an early version of this mission. In the early version of this mission, there's loads of sea mines here and here, but I actually don't see any this time. But there were a load of sea mines here, and there was just some home guard here, so you could just basically land at this airfield and make yourself at home. There was no supply hex here, so that's new. And there was just a horde waiting there and here. The strategy of the time was to deploy a load of paratroopers and drop them here. You have 3 planes, so you can do it. You drop some paratroopers here and you secure this airport. With the airport secured, you can then move your fighters up to contest the British air. And that might still be the right move. Well, either way, I'm going to have to very carefully think about everything. This will be a hard mission, and I should probably deploy my best hardware for it. I'm not a fan of these motorized anti-air. They're flexible, but they're also very slot expensive. And you may think to yourself, but they only cost 2 slots. Why are they slot expensive? Well, 2 slots is twice as many as 1 slot, so they're twice as expensive. And you gain no additional firepower for it. Not only do you gain no additional firepower for it, but as open-topped vehicles, they are actually way more vulnerable to enemy aircraft. If you check out the stats, you'll see that they actually only have 6 air defense as opposed to the 10. And that makes a huge difference against aircraft. A huge difference. Because with 10 air defense, if you look at an tactical, so if you look at a tactical, it's got 10 hard attack. Now, when it's 10 against 10, you're basically not going to get many kills. You might get a kill or 2. But when it's 10 against 6, the kills are going to be a lot. You are definitely going to take hurt. The only real advantage to them is that they are harder to damage by ground. They have a better ground defense value. But the thing is that, you know, if your anti-aircraft guns are being engaged in direct combat, something has gone horribly wrong with your strategy. So, yeah, it's one of those things. That's the issue with mechanized anti-aircraft, is the slot cost is very high. Right, anyway, this is going to be a big, long deployment episode, I think. It's going to require a lot of thought. I might spam a load of auxiliary fighters and just really take control of the sky in a big way. I'm sure Galland and Barr can put plenty of British planes in the ground for me. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the Jersey episode, and I will see you guys next time.